Procrastination. It's something all of us struggle with, especially when it comes to tackling big goals. But here's the thing, you don't need motivation to get things done, you need a disciplined strategy. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I stop procrastinating and turn my goals into action step by step. 1. Break goals into smaller tasks. Procrastination often comes from feeling overwhelmed. We hear a lot, make sure you dream very big. With that dreaming very big comes, that overwhelm of, wow, this is very big. Do I think I can achieve this? But I then realized that when you actually take that big goal and break it down into smaller steps, it's much more easier for you to take that first step. Let me use this as an example. So now let's say now you are currently maybe in college. With college, you get projects, you get assignments and different things like that to do. Now let's say you have that big project, you have to research on these different things, you have to create a report, and you have to submit it, let's say in a month from now. You thinking about it, it's like, geez, that is a lot of work for me to do. And you will notice that when you get back, you see the task, you think of the result or the end goal of what you actually wanted to achieve. And it's like, nah, I think I'll just maybe move it to later. Start making things like, I feel like I can use better energy tomorrow morning. Then from tomorrow morning, it turns to next week. And you see yourself pushing that task further and further until maybe, let's say, the deadline, the last week or the last couple of days. So I think like this now. You had that big project for you to do. You now break that project down into different various steps. We had the research phase, which you just kind of browse the internet, look for the different sources, authors, articles, and different things you want to use. You have the second stage where you now select the ones you actually want to put into what you want to do, select them, cut the ones you don't want out, put them in a script format, and then arrange everything to make it look more organized. You notice that you've seen that's the first step, that is the second step. Maybe the third step could be, maybe if you were to recite it in school, practicing reading it to the class or presenting it or creating a presentation for it. Just an example, I might not get it exactly right, but the key thing that I want you to understand is that you breaking those goals down into those smaller steps kind of helps it and makes it better for you. That moves you from saying, how can I finish this huge project to what can I do today to move this project further? Those two mindsets are very, very different. That one sees the end goal in mind, that finished project in mind as something very far. But the other one sees it as, okay, if I keep doing this maybe every week, every day, consistently, I can eventually get to that end goal I have. And that's where the magic happens. The first step is always the hardest, but it's always the most important. To create a consistent routine. At first, I'll try to make progress sporadically. Some days I'll work a lot, other days I'll just procrastinate. And honestly, the thing just never stopped. Then I started to create a consistent routine. I dedicated certain times of the day to specific tasks. So how did I do this? That was basically me using or implementing a calendar in my life. I noticed that for me to actually get things done, I can't just wake up in the morning and be thinking to myself, what do I have to do today or what can I do today? Honestly, if that's one thing you can actually take from this video and say, I never want to wake up in the morning and tell or ask myself, what am I going to do today? That question alone opens the loop for procrastination for you for that whole day. And how I can say this is because I've gone through it before. Yesterday, I got back from a trip from Calgary and basically I got home like 3 a.m. so it was late and I slept into the day. I basically had no plan for that day. And I noticed that I stood up, I was a bit tired, sluggish. I will get up, I'll try to do this. It just never stuck because there was no time limit for me to achieve that. There was no other thing I needed to do. And from that, I was able to be conscious of it and say, this is happening because I didn't have a plan for today. There was no routine. There was no structure for that day. What I would advise you is that if you can plan your day a day before, or maybe if you can't, that morning before you actually start your day, this is what I want to do and this is how I'm going to get it done. This is the time frame I'm going to use to get it done. You notice that with that small little step, you start building that discipline in your mind and saying, I'm actually doing this. I'm actually, getting it done. Then you start seeing that small progress. Oh, I've actually completed this. And trust me, when you commit to this, you start noticing results without even realizing it. 3. Use time blocking. Motivation isn't something that will show up on its own, so I had to be intentional about my time. I began using time blocking to dedicate some specific times in my day to focus on some specific tasks, video editing, video scripting, learning a new skill. This helped me stay focused and also made it clear to myself that this time block is for working, this time block is for resting. Some of us, like me, when I first started, what I did in my calendar was I just time blocked every single thing. There was no break in between. It was just like I moved from video editing to video scripting to the next task, and like that, like that, like that. Which, if you look at it, most of us can't just work 16 hours a day non-stop. There has to be like little breaks in between. You know, that actually leads to procrastination, because when you see yourself doing every task, no break, you're like tired, I'll get back to it. And you now take a break that you didn't want to take in the first place, which leads to only God knows when you finish that break. But when you say, I've time blocked this time for break so I can do whatever I want, scroll on TikTok, use Instagram, whatever the case may be for you, even if you're just starting. That's why I recommend know yourself. Try different things. Does working for all those hours work for you? If it does, which I doubt, good. But other people might just need those little breaks in between to keep them sharp and keep them going. Basically, time block became that secret weapon I used to overcome procrastination and keep on doing my different tasks. If you're tired of letting procrastination hold you back, start implementing these 3 habits today. Which of these steps are you going to focus on first? Let me know in the comments. If you want even more strategies for building discipline and getting things done, click the video on the screen and I'll see you on the other side.